Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we would start with another chapter, organizational structure and design of the multinational enterprise. Uh, Before going with the start, I would like to discuss some of the introduction of this chapter. One of the challenges for the HR in global firm is to become an organizational architect. Global organizations need appropriate structure in order to effectively conduct business in the chaotic yet interconnected global economy. Other important point I would like to discuss with you is the only clear source of sustainable global competitive advantages is designing organizations for knowledge creation and sharing across borders, and thus learning and innovation on a global basis. The traditional needs for control and integration combined with their need for learning, for control integration, sorry, combined with their need of learning and creativity applied across national borders in the highly complex economy and make the problems uh, of the organizational designs especially difficult. So this is the background from the book and the background from for this chapter. As we know that when the multinational companies are faced, or the multinational companies face two opposing forces when designing the structure of their organization. They are faced with the need of differentiation. Number one point that allows them to be specialized and competitive in the marketplace or in the markets, you can say that. They're also faced with the need to integrate the structure adopted, therefore have to find a balance between these opposing needs and also remain in a strategic alignment for the company to work or to thrive or to a successful. Multinational companies have therefore evolved many structural permutations to suit their business needs, you can say that. Number one thing is that when you studied, when you understand about the international structure or the international organizational architecture, so you people studied in the previous chapters, in the previous understanding, that what does the meaning of the subsidiary. So when we are linking the subsidiary here with the organizational architect, are here with the global organization. So subsidiary model is basically owning a foreign subsidiaries is one of the basic structural model for or of a multinational company. The subsidiaries are self-sustained units, you can say that, with their own operations, finance, and human resource functions. The foreign subsidiaries are autonomous, allowing them to respond to local competitive conditions and develop a locally responsive strategies. This is what you can say that about the subsidiary model, and you understand about it. The major thing is the another thing is important. You can say that the disadvantage of this model when you're talking about the subsidiary model, when you are talking about a global organization. So in the subsidiary model, as far as the global organizations is concerned, the disadvantage is the decentralization of strategic decisions that might make it difficult for a unified approach to counter global competitive attacks, you can say that. The other thing when you're talking about is when we going further, when we're discussing it, the another thing is the related with uh, the globalization. When you global organizations are international structure, with the title organization structure and the design of the multinational enterprises. The another important thing is related with the functional structure, is the functional structure of the organization, which means that such as the finance, such as operations, the marketing, human resource determine the structure of multinational companies. You can say that. For example, all of the production personnel globally for a company work under the parameters set by the production department. You can say that. The advantage of the structure is that there is a greater specialization within departments and more standardized processes across the global network. You can say that. So these are some of the things which is related with the global organizations, and we're talking about, so we will further discuss in the later part of the today's lecture. The other thing is, when we're going to the this discussing it. So all companies in both developed as well as in developing countries markets opportunities, critical resources, cutting edge ideas and competitors, not only just around the corner in the home market, but increasingly also in distant and often little understood regions of the world as well. So this is also one of the challenge when you are going global, and when you're talking about a global organization. What does the mean of the global organization design and introduction? The forms and stages of international development, uh, in the amount of the cross-border coordination required by the firm's strategy, that is the degree of desired centralization and integration versus the degree of acceptable and necessary localization, the nature of the government, the host government's activity in the economic process. This is also one of the thing when you're talking about a global organization, the diversity and the complexity of the multinational enterprises business operations is also very important. We know that what is the diversity is and what are the complexities of the multinational enterprises is. In the previous chapters we are already discussed the complexity of the multinational enterprises. and I know that you not listen the audios, you not give me any kind of the feedback as well. So anyhow, to a large degree this concerns the form of development and interconnectedness of multinationals, various subsidiaries and alliances. Such subsidiaries and alliances can range in structure from simple sales offices to complete standalone operations, wholly or partially owned, formal joint ventures, and less formal partnerships of various kinds. So, these are some of the things related with the then the subsidiary or the partnerships can be start up initially, probably a sales office that can be used to establish the firm's international business. In such cases, the context usually will take the structural form of reporting directly to an executive in the domestic structure or to the head of an international or geographic division. Then another thing is one when you're talking about the firm established in international business, it will use its subsidiaries and alliances to operate its international strategy. In such cases, the firm is likely to develop a structure using a multinational, multi-dimensional, you can say that structure. So the subsidiaries, as we discuss, so the that is the in the context of the internationalization or multinational networks. That is like, for example, you can say the marketing and finance with the sub offices devoted to international business. You can say that autonomous country subsidiaries, generally self-contained mini versions of the business at home. In case of a multi-business enterprise, there will likely a network of business functions, country subsidiaries. You can say that. You can also say that the alliances and global product line coordinations, creating a three-way matrix of global responsibilities and reporting structures. The primary concerns here we we're talking about here is the linked with the twofold, learning by the parent firm about from the local foreign interest as it figures out how to make money in the global environment and figuring out how to control and integrate a far-flung operations of this newly international firm. This is very important. This is very important in when you're talking about the globalization and when you're talking about a global organization. Then moving further, we see that the firm reaches the level of high proportion of assets sales implies outside of its home country. The subsidiaries become leaders in creating new market share and competitive advantages, which are then transformed to the global network. This is also another thing. In all these circumstances, and when you're talking about, and in all these circumstances, the structure necessary to conduct the international business is more complex than the case for a purely domestic firm. The more assets and implies a firm has in its foreign subsidiary and partnerships, and more languages, cultures, and time zone it has to cope with, and the more it relies on international joint ventures and alliances, in addition to its traditionally wholly owned subsidiaries, the more complex the structure will need to be. For example, like you can say Procter and Gamble. For example, you can say that like Nike. For example, like you can say that Pepsi. For example, like you can say that Coke. For example, like you can say that Apple. These are the all the examples you can say that concerned with the international ventures and international alliances. You can say that it's not these are the examples are not the of the alliances, but these are the examples related with the more ventures. You can say that internationally are global organizations. You can say that uh, the how effective global firm for the futures, you can say that so and the geographically, you can say that your organization would be a geographically and as well as diversity, with reference to the diversity, uh, successful in this in these contexts is successful. So your global firm, your organization will the global firm, the future is more good. Then mm, uh, other thing we can say that when you moving further, the HRM and organizational design, even though the conduct of the business everywhere is becoming internationalized, not all aspects of business are internationalizing at the same place, at the same pace. Many of the challenges encountered by the multinationals or global firm are associated with international human resource management. Learning to conduct business and to manage workforces in multiple countries with multiple political and governmental systems is a major challenge. So, conducting business and manage workforce in a multi countries, multiple countries with multiple political, this is a very important and very important. One of the concern for the top business companies. For example, like in Pakistan, the political systems and the governmental systems is far different than the European countries, and the European countries' political systems and the governmental systems is a, is totally different from here in Pakistan. When you're talking about the Asian countries, so these are the concerns when you are talking about international, when you are concerning with internationalization, are the international firms, uh, when you consider the cross-border teams and task forces. Indeed, the use of these organizational strategies and problems associated with them. Uh, these are all the concerns. These are all the things that are the problems associated with them become more important. That the subjects have earned themselves their own chapters, you can say that, with their own uh, required a strong coordination, uh, strong cross border coordination, even you can say that. more required, increasingly a more required control, teamwork, learning, and integration. Sorry. So these are all the linked when you're talking about the organizational design, or when you're talking about the designing the multinational enterprise, uh, includes the adapt to local market differences, exploit global economies of scale, exploit economies of global scope, tap into the best locations for activities and resources, and maximize knowledge and experience transferred between locations. So these are some of the advantages when you are going global. But as far as the advantage is concerned, you can also find out the potential conflicting imperative in several ways. You can say that that might be the one sometimes celebrated a global thing act is to encourage local initiatives, but then globalize information about these activities. Typically, the corporate headquarters had some form of scoreboard monitoring its operations around the world. Any local success, you can say that, could have a global, you can say that, a global implications and might be applicable worldwide. Then you can say that the other examples, when you quote here some of the Sony sources, its software in the US, Apple found, sorry, uh, that Singapore, so good as at high quality computer assembly that they now manage Apple's factory around the world. The automobile of the future may be designed in Italy with engines made in Germany, safety systems from Japan, and so on. So these are different things coming from a different thing. This means that you are exploiting global economies of scale. You are talking about exploit economies of the global scope, you can say, and so on. These are all the things in this context. Global excellence become a synthesis of approaches taken in many places, you can say that. uh, some others example here I would like to quote it. Here is, for example, a shell gave help to pig farmers in the Philippines, which protected its pipelines from sabotage by the insurgents. Such a strategy did not find adherents in others locals, you can say that. So typically, a different corporate headquarters has some form of scoreboard, and you can say that some has the different elements and some has the different experiences, you can say that. Then moving further, global organizational structure, the basic global organizational structures to the multinational enterprises has always been the integration of activities that take place in different countries and coordination of foreign subsidiaries with headquarters. The basic global structure then of every multinational enterprises has been a blend, at least of the product lines, country subsidiaries, and alliances and business functions. You must say that these are the things which is related with the global organizational structure. Then international geographic and product divisions, you can say that the earliest structures created by most of the multinationals or enterprises to manage their international operations other than for simple export was simple headquarters and subsidiary model. I explained you in the first part of my lecture the subsidiary model. Subsidiaries either reported directly to the CEO, the vice president of operations, or to the marketing or manufacturing. Eventually, as the international business developed, the subsidiaries reported to an international division established to manage the international business. Uh, this is, for example, you can say that headquarters will be or would be understood should be the home country, you can say that. Headquarter would be in the home country, and the subsidiary is the in the other countries, you can say that. Country A subsidiary, country B subsidiary, and country C subsidiary, you can say that. So this is a simple headquarter and subsidiary model. You can say that headed by the headquarters, and then followed by the subsidiary country A, subsidiary country B, and subsidiary country C. So this is how you can say that a subsidiary model can work. Then uh, the other thing is the international structure. When you're talking about the international structure, so CEO can be the lead by the other things, and international division and the regions and country. Then the CEO can lead the whole global structure, and then followed by the international division. And international in the international divisions, the sub part is the region and countries, you can say that. Then, when you're talking about the other part, as international sales increased, international divisions typically gave way to the geographic structure. You can say that. You can say that, and then when you say that, with each region becoming an independent division reporting directly to the CEO, as I explained to you, the CEO can head it, lead the operations, and then the followed by the international divisions, and by international divisions can be subdivided into regions and countries, you can say that. This is how you understand it. Then the international geographic structure, if you're talking about international geographic structure here, so the international geographic structure is the same again, lead by the CEO, and then followed by the manufacturing and the countries. Then you can also work with the CEO, and then the corporate and the staff and household, and then you talk about the linked with the structures, you can, with the product and the regional focus, you can say that. So you can subdivide it with the region, and you can subdivide it with the other part, that for example, the European is the another region, you can say that, regional focused. And then you can follow the same, the marketing and product development and design center and product managers for the European region only. Then you can say that you designed another region, Latin America, for example, you can say that. So the same things, same model, household products and design centers will be the different for the Latin American. And the another part is the Asian, you can say that. Another region, you can say that. Our regional focus is the Asia. So for the Asia is another household products, and then another design center for the Asians and the product manager as well as. But the CEO will be remain the same. CEO will lead this whole operation, and I explained you in the previous part that this will be under the, and then you can followed by the international division, and international divisions can be subdivided into the regions and cultures, you can say that. Regions and cultures are region and countries more appropriately. So this is how you can draw a structure of the internationals and product divisions, you can say that. Then you can also work with the more specified, with the product and marketing, or product marketing and product development, as you say that. If you ever notice, is some of the ads or advertisements are globalized ads and advertisements. They not change their region, they cannot change their strategy region wise, you can say that. You observe the ad of the some of the international brands, like you can say that Apple, some of the other others brands. But if you see the Coca-Cola or Sprite or the Pepsi brands, they advertise it differently in the regions. For example, in the Latin America, their ads will be different. In the Asian market, their ad will be different. So their marketing and product development will be different as far as the region is concerned, you can say that. This is one of the aspects you can say that. For example, McDonald's here in Pakistan, the McDonald's strategies will be different as comparatively to the American region. So these are some of the differences which might be happened when you are talking about internationalization, and when you are focusing the international brands are in the international structure as well. Then multi-dimensional network. Multi-dimensional network, as the needs for more business centers increases. For example, to accommodate international additional countries and for additional research and development centers to adapt products to local customers. Global firms look for ways to create a network of centers around the world in order to better coordinate, control, and learn from them. These structures tend to vary in form depending on whether the firm is a single or multi product business. So, this is how you can say that. The other thing is, here we can say a single business organization. If the business is a single business firm and its global business was primarily developing into what was for it new areas with heterogeneous markets and active local governments, yet it has a fairly simple business model, then the firm is likely to develop a strong geographical dimensions to its structure. So you can further out what is the meaning of the heterogeneous market is. If I can explain you the example, or if I can hear the quote with the heterogeneous market is, the heterogeneous market is referred to a market situation where the prospective buyers of any product are not found homogeneous in their needs, habits, choices. You can say that. So, what does the structure of the human heterogeneous is with the dissimilar components or element. For example, you can say that uh, example you can say that the that is the demand is different. You can say that the requirement is different. You can say that the market segmentations is different. You can say that. So these are all the related aspects with which is when you talking about the heterogeneous market examples. These are the heterogeneous, that is with reference to the different aspects, with reference to the different elements, you can say that. Then the other thing is the multi-business enterprises. Multi-business enterprises is if the international business portfolio is quite diverse with multiple products and a number of business logics or models, and the products and the markets for each product line are relatively homogeneous and well known, served by the standardized products, then there is likely to develop a strong uh, you can say that a strong uh, strategic business unit, international product line, you can say that, our international product line structure. Moving further is the global matrix structure. Global matrix structure, as concern for cost control, compete with the concerns for integration and cross fertilization across national borders. Then the firms tend to look for ways to coordinate all the many critical components of the firm. So the global matrix structure is like that, is headed by the CEO and then followed by the corporate and staff. You can say that, as early in the structures and the earlier structures I already described you, and as this leads by the product group. You can again say that the region wise would be a different European, Latin American, Asians, Japan, they have different representative. They have the different work. You can say that they have the different structure, different HR and the finance department. European business unit has different HR department and the finance department. The European business unit has the another manufacturing and the labs and all things, and this leads by the sales and marketing. So these are have the different concerns. These have the different lines of reporting. You can say that these have the different structure as well as.
So the more, the thing is that we typically be a country lack to the matrix, with managers reporting to a local national boss plus reporting to a product group, a regional or headquarters functional office, you can say that as well. Sometimes there are three or more legs. You can say that legs means that I already explained you that European, Latin American, Asian, and Japanese. So these are the different, you can say that, areas for one CEO. You can say that. Other thing is when you are moving further, when you are explaining these matrices involve. So I explain you that there are three or more legs. I already explained you. Then when you're talking about the in the later part, and I would like to discuss, so the new product development, packaging, marketing, all things is the you can say that if you have operations in the UK or in operations in the European markets, and as well as in the Asian market. So for the UK you have might have a different development centers, and for UK, and also have a different research centers, and for the Asians markets you have a different development and research centers as well. Both, you can say that for every geographic region, for example, for American zone, are you divided zone wise? So the American zone would be like US, Mexico, Brazil, Chile, and these are all the countries related with the American zone. You can say that if you divided your operations in the zone wise, your global metric structures by zone wise, or the by region wise. For example, in the European zone, you included UK, France, Germany, all these things. So these are the different zone. When in things that, for example, you can say that in Germany you are offering only your coffee, milk, or food related products. In the UK you are offering a more than these products. For example, you can also offer the cosmetics products if you have a different product line, as well as if you internationally market. For example, I must say that Procter and Gamble, you can say that. Then the zone Asia, uh, the Middle East or the Africa. So you added Australia, Philippines, Japan, China, and all these things in the zone Asia or Middle East, the African. So these are the different zone. Another area that you can work with. Then another part of the chapter is the transnational organization. Transnational organization is related with the one of the more complex business structures have been developed by the international global firms. You can say that in the international global firms, you can say that the with reference to the discussions, with reference to the um, this, as already mentioned, as Jan Braun Beverly, this Swiss student global firm. ABB is often used an example of a transnational firm, that is one with a truly global focus, making resource decisions without reference to the national origins, sharing its ideas and technology with all of its units on a global scale, with while cultivating a local character in all of its individual businesses. ABB has 150,000 employees worldwide, divided into 150 business lines and 5,000 profit centers. You can say that. Then, more than a formal structure is all of these organizational structures, from a simpler botch and LOM design to the complex design of a Black and Decker, 3M, Nestle. These are all the illustrate the examples of how complex a typical organization structure of the modern multinational enterprise often becomes. And another multinational enterprise develops, it must find a way to coordinate its business functions such as finance, manufacturing, marketing, its strategic business units, its R&D activities, its country subsidiaries and local and regional operations, its strategic alliances, its global customers, with its headquarters and orientation, vision and values, and the balance sheet. Other part of the other part of the chapter is the firms have networks have tried a number of strategies uh, described in this and the previous chapter to hold these complex, including multiple dimension matrices. You can say that the because of this multiple reporting functional responsibilities, product lines, countries, business units, regional and parent country headquarters, multiple specialty centers such as R&D and product development and global training and development and cross borders acquisitions, international giant ventures, partnerships and virtual teams. These are all related with the networking when you're talking about. The other thing is the another important thing is the use and management of cross border teams. Given the increasing complexity of organizations as described uh, in the prior chapters as well. Much of the work that needs to done in the global enterprise requires a high degree of interaction and interdependence between a globally dispersed organizations and between people in various globally dispersed sections of those organizations. These cross border teams come with many different names: global teams, multinationals, multicultural, transnational, transcultural, geographically distributed, or geographically dispersed. All of these refers to the phenomena of people working together in teams with common goals who are not physically located in the same place and often do not meet but rather conduct their business via electronic means, you can say that. Uh, as I would like to explain further, the global organizational is the linked with the tie that binds glue the global firm together is the intellectual and as well as the social capital. I must say that the attention of the cross borders giant ventures is very important in the firms, you can say that. And we will also discuss in the next chapter the cross border teams management, or what is the cross border teams management is for the international enterprise and for the international experience. Has been the international assignments, you can say that, spreading them throughout the organization. So these are all the things which is referred by the or which is referred to the global learning organization, that you can say that how much organization learned from the across the borders, you can say that the global economy change is messy and the organizations needs to understand the global organization. The fundamental change all across the world is also one of the important aspects when you're talking about the globalization and when you're talking about internationalization, when you are going for the cross border teams, you I must say that. So these are all the important aspects related with uh, the structure of the organization as well. Hope you can understand. If you have any questions related with the anything, if I can further, before closing of the today's session, multicultural is already explained, is already know that the what does the mean of the multicultural meaning is. If you have any ambiguity in this chapter, or if you want to, I would not intentionally explain the other things as well. For example, I would not explain the transnational. In the previous chapter I already explained, so I did not comment here. And if you still have any ambiguity related with the chapter, understanding related with the content, related with anything, you can ask from me, from my WhatsApp number. You can ask from the our QSIT LMS uh, with the query part, and you can discuss, or you can officially email on my official email address, or already shared with you people. So you can approach me with these of the sources, and with the best wishes for all of you. I hope you can understand the this part of the chapter. I would like to share the another chapter as well for the midterm examination. So we will cover up the midterm course. Hope you can understand, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask from me. Uh, okay, ji, goodbye.